Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? I hope you all are having a great Monday. And if you're anywhere where the weather is like it is where I am, that it's not dreary and rainy and just causing everything to not work the way you need it to work. Internet's been down, so it's been kind of a rough day getting started. And of course, if you have sinuses or allergies or anything like that, the change of the weather is always rough. But nonetheless, we are grateful to be here um, with another video for you guys on this marvelous Monday. And my shirt today just says Real Talk Therapy. So it's just another design we came up with for what we're doing here. And today, I just want to talk about working on making things make sense to you. The cliche, pardon me, the cliche at hand today is the one that I'm pretty sure all of you have heard before. And you may hear someone say they feel like they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. Well, in reality, should you be carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? And when you start thinking about it logically, are we even strong enough to carry the weight of the world? I don't know about you guys, but carrying my own weight tends to be, enough or sometimes more than enough for me to handle and carry. But there are times where we often find ourselves taking on or carrying things or holding on to things that are not ours to even carry. And that could come for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes you volunteer to pick up stuff that doesn't belong to you. Other times you can be manipulated by the person who doesn't want to carry their own weight. And so they get into your head and they convince you that whatever it is that they're feeling in regards to you is yours to carry. Then you start thinking about your past, how it can affect your present, and then you start worrying about your future. And when you're dealing with those different things and you're trying to figure those things out, it can always come as a hiccup because you're carrying too much. It's easy for people to tell us to let the past go. But how do you do that? And it's going to be different for everybody. How do you let those things from your past go so that you can be more present and then you can look forward to your future? Instead of holding on to what's in the past, trying to balance your presence and then worrying about your future. There's nothing good that can ever come from that. It's too much weight emotionally to carry. And then sometimes you carry the weight of how people feel about you or feel towards you when you have to handle your business when it comes to your relationship with them, whether it's personal, professional, social, whatever the relationship may be, family, whatever it may be. We all have a certain amount or a certain responsibility regarding those relationships of what is mine to carry, what is yours to carry, and then what is ours to try to carry collectively. When you start thinking about it in the physical sense, you know what you can lift, you know what you can carry, you know what's too heavy for you, you know what causes you to strain. But sometimes, if I go to the grocery store and I'm grocery shopping by myself and you got about 15, 20 bags, realistically, depending on what I bought, I may or may not be able to get 10 bags on one hand, 10 in the other. But what would make sense would be to take the trips that are necessary for me to take until I get everything inside, because I made that trip to purchase those groceries, on my own. Then there are times where even if I did make that trip to purchase those groceries on my own, then I may call ahead and see if my husband is home. Hey, I'm on my way from the grocery store. Can you meet me? Or a lot of times if we're talking, I don't even have to ask him, can he meet me? He's already at the door. So it doesn't matter if I have 5 grocery bags or 10. If he knows that that's something that I went to do and he's already at home, he's going to position himself to go ahead and come out and help me. And I don't even have to ask for help. But there are times where I have to say, hey, I went for 2 or 3 things, but I'm coming back with 50 things and I need your help. There was a time in life where I was too proud to say that, because I would feel like, okay, I made a choice to go to the grocery store and buy all of this stuff, so I got to get it in the house or whatever. And then I wouldn't ask for help, but then, I'm hurting myself physically, or I'm frustrated because I got to get all this stuff out the car. But help was right there for me, and I just refused to ask for it. But if the help wasn't there, if he was still at work, or if he just hadn't gotten to the house by the time I got to the house, then I had to think about how I was going to carry those things inside. Never left anything in there, because you can't leave, or at least you shouldn't, leave your groceries in the car, because they need to be put up. They need to go in their rightful place. If you got stuff that needs to be refrigerated, it needs to be refrigerated. If you have stuff that needs to go in the cupboard, it needs to go in the cupboard. And that ties in with when we have to start compartmentalizing things and putting them in their rightful place. I could easily bring all the groceries in here and just sit them on the floor and then start doing something else. But if I brought the baggage in here, it's my responsibility to unload and take care of the baggage. And a lot of us want other people to pick up our groceries or pick up our baggage and unload them things for us. And then when they don't, you have an attitude with people for not doing something for you that you obviously have to do for yourself. Because what will happen when that person is not there to carry that weight for you? What happens when from that weight you typically or physically break all the way down from trying to carry and hold on to stuff that was designed for you to let go of and not hold on to at all? Having the weight of the world on your shoulders is just unrealistic. So we're going to go ahead and cut to the chase with that right away. That's an over-exaggerated cliche. A lot of stuff that you have on you, though, it could possibly feel like that, especially when you don't manage your time wisely, you don't finish things in a timely manner like you're supposed to, you don't follow through when you're supposed to, and you don't hold yourself accountable. Stuff starts to weigh down, and now it's, oh my God, I got all this stuff to do, and I don't have enough time to do it in, because, especially me personally, now I'm talking to myself, you have the time allotted for you to do what you need to do, but then you decide to do whatever else you decide to do when you decide to do it. And that's not healthy. Nothing about that is good. Nothing about that will help you to be able to make sound decisions, because now you're so caught up in all this weight that you're carrying. And then now you've convinced yourself in your mind, in your head, in your heart, that you're left out here to carry all this stuff on your own. When the reality is you made a choice to carry all that stuff on your own. Nobody asked you to carry it. Nobody forced you to carry it. And even if they did, ultimately you had the choice to say, nah, I can't do that. Or do you think it's really fair for you to ask me to do that? And sometimes we do it because we want the person to accept us or love us or be our friend, or, you're looking for something in a way of praise, and your expectation is, if this person really appreciates me carrying all this weight, then they're going to say thank you, or when my plate gets too full, they're going to come and help me. And, we look for people to do the things for us that we do for them, but in reality, you're not going to always get that. So you have to make it make sense to yourself when you start deciding what you're going to do when it comes to a relationship, a friendship, a professional relationship in the workplace. You have to set those boundaries, is what it's called ultimately. And you have to know what you can deal with and what you can't, because the excess weight is something that you've chosen to carry. And when you make a choice, we all know our choices come with consequences. And can we really be upset with the individual when we decide that we're going to start putting this stuff down and then they feel a certain way? No, we shouldn't be upset, because guess what? If we're telling you that it's too much for us to carry and that doesn't sit well with you, then now we have to be able to say, that's on you. I carried it for as long as I could. Now I got to put it down. It's too much for me. Because, you could be carrying all the weight and it looks like the other individuals around here just living their life, doing what they want to do and kind of left you behind. But that's not the case. If you volunteer to do something, and especially if they don't want to do it, then, you can't be mad at them for their reaction to that. The only thing you can do is learn from it, unpack it, sound it out, and figure out how you're going to move on to the next thing. You have to be able to process and begin to know what self-preservation is. And if we don't do that early on, you end up losing yourself. And self-preservation is a fancy word for saying make sure you're going to be okay at all times. People with big hearts, people with, big ambitions, and people who always want to help and do things for others are the ones who usually end up doing more than they are required to do, more than what's expected of them. So if you're doing everything for somebody and then the day comes where you can't do it, they're going to react in however way that they feel. They might get mad. Oh, you've been doing it all this time. Why are you going to stop now? Or they may understand. But you would never know until you have that conversation. So self-preservation is making things make sense in your mind before you follow through with it. I've worked on jobs where my title was one thing, but because I had an area of expertise in 5 other things, I ended up some kind of way doing 6 things. The one thing that I was hired and getting paid for, and the 5 other things that I had knowledge in. And to go back and try to figure out how and why and all that stuff would just be too much. But once I realized I'm doing 6 things, but I'm only getting paid for the one, it didn't matter what my boss had to say. It didn't matter what these other 5 coworkers that I was doing all this stuff for had to say. I had made up in my mind, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm only doing what's required of me. Because if you don't preserve yourself, anybody can come in and tell you who you are and tell you what you should be doing and tell you how you should be doing it. And it won't sit well with you because it's not how you operate. You're going to get the work done. You're going to be able to do it. And as a leader, other leaders want to tell people how to lead. You can't tell me how to lead. You can give me the thing that you want me to be the leader of, or whatever it is that you got me leading, or whoever it is that you got me leading, or whatever, whatever I'm trying to say. Let's just say if I'm the line leader in school for that day, and the teacher says to me, okay, Ebony, you're the line leader. And when we go to the library, you're at the front of the line and you need to get us to the library because you're the line leader and the other kids are going to follow you to the library. Well, there might be 5 different ways to get to the library. And if I choose the way that the teacher doesn't want me to go, then the teacher is more than likely going to say, okay, Ebony, why are we going this way? Why not go this way? But if you allow me to lead, I'm going the way that I know. I'm still going to get to the library, okay? I'm not taking them to the gym. You said go to the library. But just because I didn't go the way that you wanted me to go, which now catch this, you told me to lead. You didn't tell me how, and you didn't tell me which way to go. You just told me to lead the line to get to a specific destination. And if I had done self-preservation, when all of that stuff came up, to me, I would have been able to say that, raise my hand, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, you just asked me to lead the class to the library and that's what I'm doing. You didn't say go the way that you normally take us. You told me to lead, and so now I'm doing it the way that I know to do. As long as I get to the destination that you told me to get them to, it shouldn't matter how I get there, especially if I'm not taking them off route, having them to do, go do something that we ain't supposed to do. None of that stuff. I'm just leading them this way because that's the way that I know to lead. If you don't want me to be the line leader and you want things to be done your way, you need to do it. And of course, using that analogy, as a child, I wouldn't have said that to a teacher. But as an adult, I didn't say that to my supervisors either. I ended up starting to try to do things the way that they wanted them done. And then even if I did it to the T, it still wasn't enough. So that's why you have to be careful with trying to do what other people are doing. Because once you master what they wanted you to do, then guess what? Now they're going to switch it up on you and say they wanted it to be another way. But if you preserve yourself and do those things in a way and form and fashion that you know how to do them, then you'll be okay. And if that's not going to sit well with somebody that you work for, you have so many other options. There's other places of employment. You can go out here and open up a business and do this thing for yourself. You do not have to stand and stay stagnant in a place where your talents are not allowed to be used for you to get the job done. I was a mess. I was pulled here, there, and everywhere with trying to get this job done. And after a while, I started to question my ability to even do the job because I didn't preserve myself in that particular circumstance. And so today's lesson is you have to do what makes sense for you in order for you to preserve who you are, to not lose your mind or lose your composure, or even lose parts of who you are. And we talked about carrying the weight of our past. One thing about your past, it's yours, can't be replicated, can't be duplicated, can't be taken from you. It's yours, but you don't have to constantly walk around with it like you gotta carry it. No, you can put that down. Now, how to put that down is something that, in individual sessions and working with coping strategies and receiving treatment and counseling, those are things that you and your individual counselor can start working together on, because every coping strategy does not work for everybody. You have to be able to develop what's called a person-centered plan here in the state of North Carolina, and it's centered to the individual for what it is that they want to work on. If you have a goal and you have no idea how you're going to reach your goal, then we have to start there. Because how did you come up with something that you want to reach, but you don't know what you're going to do to get there? So in self-preservation, you have to know who you are and what it is that you want. Our present is living life. This is where I am today. This is how it is today. Did I feel like getting on here doing a video? No. Did I feel like sitting down talking about things today? No. But it's my job. And so again, like I said early on, even in my discomfort, I have to be comfortable enough to deliver those things that I said that I want to do. I want to be a therapist. I want to have conversations. I want to help people. I wanted to create this channel. I wanted to do it Monday through Friday. So if that was a goal that I set for myself, even when I didn't feel like doing it today, I got up, pushed forward, and did everything that I needed to do for my day and made sure that it happened. That's where self-preservation comes in. Because I could have easily succumbed to how I was feeling. I could have called somebody on the phone and said, I don't feel like doing it today. And then the negative Nancy, oh, don't do it, girl. You ain't got to do it. And then someone is coming out, looking to the channel, looking for the content, looking for whatever was going to be delivered today. And then I didn't follow through. So if we're going to start saying that we're going to do something, you have to see it through in your present, because I know doing this right now is setting me up for my future. It's setting me up for the places where I want to go. It's setting me up for the things that I want to do. And so I have to operate in discomfort so that I can one day be as comfortable as I want to be. That's how this works. When it comes to working with our mind, our thoughts, and those things that are always uncomfortable for us, those things that we don't want to deal with, those things that we can't see our way out of, you're going to have to face the music. Remember, pulling it from under the rug, one issue at a time. Because if you pull all that stuff out, you could become overwhelmed. You're not going to know where to start. You're not going to know what to do. And so in this, I used to write out in journals what my goals were. I used to make a to-do list. It's so many things that I used to do along the ways of my career path that, believe it or not, everything that I set my mind towards wanting to do from high school to now, I did it. As a young girl, I wanted to be a teacher. I used to make my brothers play school. They ain't have no other choice because I'm the oldest. So I'm the teacher. And I wanted to be a teacher because my oldest uncle was a teacher. And he went to college. And, you know, these were the things that I was able to look and see. I have aunts that were educators. So I wanted to do what they wanted to do. I love school. Well, when I graduated from college, from Elizabeth City, now I had a marketing degree, but I was still able to go in lateral entry teaching here in the state of North Carolina. Taught for 2 years. Realized that was not really what I wanted to do. I was young at the time. I still was out here trying to live my life. Then I'm trying to come in here and deal with kids. I didn't have no children. So all of these things, it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I didn't stop until I was able to do that. With my business degree, I wanted to work in accounts payable and finances and those things. I did that. I worked for Pepsi in the accounts payable department. Then I got into income maintenance with DSS and social work. Worked my way up the ranks. I went from being an income maintenance worker to being a child protective services social worker to just running the gamut through the Department of Social Services. Did that. I wanted to do it. I wrote it down. I did it. I was even a supervisor in the Child Protective Services unit at one point. And then from there, I set my sights on becoming a therapist and working in behavioral and mental health. And I'm on the path to doing that. And I said all of that to say to you, whatever you set your mind towards, there's a way for you to attain it. Went through a lot of ups and downs, but I would always come out fighting. I would always come out, hey, I'm going to do this. Dealt with the bouts and rounds of depression. But I always had the notion to get up, and I felt like I had to do it on my own. But I eventually learned I don't have to. That's what support systems are for. That's what those people that are in your life that are a part of your process and a part of these things, that's what they're for. And you have to decide who it is that you can trust and who it is that you can confide in. But you can't choose that individual because they're going to always tell you what you want to hear. No, you need them to help you sound things out. And when you're wrong, you're wrong. I had a hard time accepting that because I did not think that what I was doing was wrong or it was the wrong way to do it. But in self-preservation, you begin to look at yourself because you don't see yourself the way others see you. You don't hear yourself the way others hear you. So you got to receive that feedback and then start making changes. And if those changes aren't good enough for those people, then so be it. It's good enough for you. Those that love you, remember, your cheerleaders, they're going to stay there. Your fans, they might want to go because now you're not operating and marching to the beat of their drum. You don't have to. You create your own rhythm. You march to their own beat of your drum and you make that stuff make sense to you. So when your weight gets heavy, I can't tell you how to put it down. But what I can tell you to do is spend some time with yourself. Get to know who you are. Get to know what's good enough for you, what makes you happy, because like I've shared before, happiness is an inside job. If we relied on other people to make us happy, we would never be happy because you have expectations of people that they can't always live up to, but you have to accept them for who they are and where they are. And if you really love somebody, none of that stuff will matter. You'll figure out how to work through it. If you really care about that person, you'll find ways to make things work. But you don't have to sit and tolerate something that you don't want to tolerate or be in situations that you don't want to be in. But nobody knows that but you. You got to know that. And so, in the midst of that, when you start putting down all this excess weight, you cannot feel guilty about how anybody else is going to feel. If it's not yours to carry, figure out a way to simply put it down. Don't worry about it, because we know if we worry, we're going to stay stuck. Just put it down. And if you're ever asked a question, the answer is simple. This is not mine to carry. And I'm sorry I picked it up to begin with. I'm sorry that I led you to believe that I could do this. I'm sorry that I put myself in a position to where I did all of this stuff and I never said that it was too heavy. You have the right to do that and create the opportunity to do that. If you were never assigned to carry all of this weight, don't put yourself in that position to do so, because you'll start resenting the person that you're carrying it for. And 9 times out of 10, if you sit down and really think about it, they never asked you to carry it. You volunteered. So how can you be upset for something that you volunteered to do? So on Make It Make Sense Monday, managing where we are, managing what we're going to do and where we're going, in real life, real talk, you have to decide what's too much and if you need help carrying any of it. But if you're quiet about it, nobody knows that you need help. My grandma Maddie used to tell me pride will leave you hungry and homeless. Because the people around you, if you're too proud to say, I'm hungry and I don't have it right now, then nobody knows to feed you. And if you don't have anywhere to lay your head in a physical sense and in an emotional sense, if nobody knows that, they can't offer you somewhere to lay down and rest. So in the mental part of what I got out of that with pride is I can never be too proud to say, I need help, no matter what it is, whether it's a physical meal because I don't have anything to eat, or a spiritual meal because my soul is missing something, an emotional meal because I need to hear something, I need to feel loved, I need, whatever it is. If I'm too proud to say that, nobody around me knows that I need that. In the physical sense of homeless, when you don't know who you are, you can't even live within yourself comfortably. And that's your home. That's your emotional home. That's your physical home. But again, like I said, now, if you're truly homeless and you're out there on the street and nobody knows that, then they can't help you find somewhere to physically lay your head. But in the emotional realm of it, if I'm restless and I feel homeless, I feel like a stranger inside my own body, then you got to stop. You got to stop and take a minute and figure out who you are and where it is that you want to be. If you continue to think negative, all you're going to get is negative outcomes. But when you start thinking positive and speaking those things into existence and start manifesting what it is that you want, I've seen so many people around me do it. People get focused. They shut everything and everybody out on what they want. So when you get like that and you're focused on something that you need, you have to figure out that time for when you need to shut out the rest of the world and focus on what it is that you want and what it is that you want to accomplish. And I guarantee you, it'll start getting easier for you by and by and by. So if you don't take anything else out of today's session, if it's too heavy, put it down. You don't have to carry it. It's okay to put it down, and you don't have to feel bad about it. And you don't have to feel guilty about it, because it wasn't yours to pick up on anyway. So continue to have a great Monday and just start trying to make things make sense in your life. The more it makes sense to you, the easier it becomes to play out. Until tomorrow, you guys have a good one. Bye.